Excited to come live with you today to share with you a prophetic update. We're going to give it a few minutes, just kind of wait for people to find us and get online. So in the meantime, I'm just going to have a glass of water because I've already been speaking a lot today. So all right. So we have some exciting things to talk about today, some exciting things that we're going to get to about what's going on in our nation and how it connects back to what's going on at FireHouse regionally here in Grants Pass. And if you've been tracking with us at any length of time, I think you'll be really excited about this. And even if you haven't been trekking with us for any length of time, there's some cool things happening that I want to kind of give you a prophetic update about. It's going to give you guys some real insight into what's happening in our nation and how we've been able to kind of affect what's going on in the nation from a pretty grassroots kind of way here in Grants Pass. So it's going to be an exciting broadcast today. Like I said, I don't really want today to go very long. My hope is that it's just a 15, 20-minute kind of exhortation to kind of get you excited about what's happening in the spiritual realm, so that you guys are kind of tuned in to what God's doing. And hopefully not only will it be a place of encouragement for you, but it will also be some direction as far as prayer is concerned. So first of all, if you are watching, I'm able this time around to to kind of check your comments. So if you're hearing me okay and everything seems to be coming across okay, if you could just say sound is fine, video is fine in the comments, that way I know that we're in a good place and ready to get going. So if you're listening, if you could put that in, that would be great. I'll keep my eye on that. So I just got finished meeting with the group who is going to Greece with me this year. And we are already experiencing some incredible prophetic insights about why God is sending us to Patmos, Greece, and what he wants us to be doing there. And we feel really excited about what's happening in the spirit. Okay, so it says, yep, we are good. So we are good to go. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So what I'm going to get started with today is that some of you, probably most of you, have heard that last night there was a leaked court document suggesting that the court is going to be overturning the Roe v. Wade law that's been in our land for nearly 50 years. And it was leaked out of the Supreme Court. They weren't, it wasn't supposed to be released until they were finished with the document, but it was leaked. But I felt like the Lord was speaking to me and saying that it wasn't leaked for no reason. There's a couple things that are happening that are coordinating in the spirit realm about what the Supreme Court is about to release regarding Roe v. Wade. I want to talk about that, and I want to talk about how FireHouse is connected to this. And so we have two major things coming up. And like I said, it's not good that it was leaked, right? But at the same time, I think that the timing is fascinating. The first thing is that this weekend is Mother's Day, and Roe v. Wade has affected the mothers. It's affected the families in this nation. And I believe that the Lord is saying that the celebration of mothers is going to take on a whole new sense of meaning this weekend as we start praying into this overturning of Roe v. Wade in the nation. And the second thing the Lord said to me is that it's corresponding with the National Day of Prayer, which is coming up this Thursday, May 5th, the National Day of Prayer, because the Lord wants the body of Christ to be mobilized to pray over this issue. Now, listen, this has been predominantly the one issue that the global church has been able to kind of get behind and say, we all agree that this is not something that needs to be continuing. And what I am praying is that with this convergence of dates, that the body of Christ begins to pray that this mandate out of the Supreme Court will, first of all, go through, and second of all, really begin to change the heart of a nation. Okay, so if you know me, a few, gosh, it was a longer than a few years ago now. But at one point in my life, I was an intern for Lou Engle at the Justice House of Prayer in Washington D.C., and I spent 3 months on the graveyard shift of Justice House of Prayer, and that meant for from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. 6 days a week, I was standing in front of the Supreme Court building with a red tape over my mouth that said life. And my only job in those 8 hours overnight in front of the Supreme Court building was to pray for the ending of abortion in America. And so this has been something that's been a birth out of my heart. It's been birthed out of so many people's hearts to see this come. It's an exciting time. And many prophets have heard the Lord say that 2022 was going to be the year that Roe v. Wade was overturned. So I believe that this is something that the Lord is sending out. It's a declaration out of heaven that God is sending onto the earth. However, there is going to be an incredible amount of pushback from the enemy on this one. And we're already starting to see it with this leaked document that there's going to be a lot of pushback. And so what I want to do is I want to prepare us not only for the pushback, but also to pray for the hearts of those in America, that they would begin to recognize the importance that we fight for life, and that the hearts of America change, because the laws can change, and that's amazing, but we also want to see hearts change, right? And so what we have decided to do is open up the building at FireHouse from 9 to 4 this Thursday for National Day of Prayer. We will be joining with our state on a phone call. I think that phone call is at like 10 or something. I could be wrong, but the information there is on Facebook, and it's also on our website, and I can pull up our website easily for you here. If you just scroll down, it'll tell you when we'll have a call, an Oregon State call, calling in for the National Day of Prayer. So we're going to be doing this on Thursday. You're welcome to come and join us. But I want to talk about how this relates back to who we are at FireHouse, and how actually we've been kind of behind the scenes in what we're seeing happen right now in DC with this ending of abortion. And how many of you, you could say me if you're in the comments, how many of you guys remember that 4th of July 2020, we had a conference, and it was a conference to unite the state over the issue of Jezebel being thrown down from the wall. If you were there, or if you remember, if you could say in the comments me, I want to bring that up, because I actually believe that has a direct correlation to what we're seeing today. Some of you know, back then we had a mandate from the Lord from 2003. Chuck Pierce and Dutch Sheets had done a 50-state tour in 2003, and they came through all 50 states, and they prophesied over each state and what was the calling of God over each state. And when they got to the state of Oregon, they had a major word for us, and that major word was that Oregon would have a hand in throwing Jezebel off the wall, so that the words of the Lord could begin flowing again through the nation, and that Oregon would be the one that would start this, is what the word said. And so that word had kind of sat on a shelf for a while. It was being stewarded by Dottie Swartz, who is our prophetic lead here at FireHouse. She was going all through the state, talking with intercessors and intercessory groups about this word, and was drawing people together. And so when she came, and she and I kind of got to know each other, and she came on leadership at FireHouse International, she said to me, she said, "Angela, I believe that this word is for us." She says, "I don't think we should drop this word. I think we need to continue to press into this word." And at the time, I just said, I agree. I think it's an important word. We need our state to come into the place that they're supposed to come into. But the Lord didn't speak to me much more about that at that time. What happened was, in the early months of 2020, I think I'm getting this right, it was either 2020 or 2019. I can't remember now, but I think it was 2020. In the early months of 2020, the Lord spoke to me and he said very clearly to me, he said, I want you to have a conference and I want the conference to be centered around throwing Jezebel off the wall. Now, if you're watching and you're like, what do you mean throwing Jezebel off the wall? Jezebel is a spirit in a demonic spirit that works in control, intimidation, and manipulation. She is the spirit behind any kind of sexual lewdness. She's the spirit behind abortion, definitely, and she's a spirit that tries to crush the prophets so that the prophets cannot speak out. And so, what happened is that the Lord was saying, Oregon is a prophetic state, and it's going to be Oregon's job to make sure that Jezebel is thrown off the wall, and it will have repercussions all the way back to Washington, D.C. And so the Lord spoke to me and he said, I want you to have a 24-hour conference praying that Jezebel is thrown off the wall and dethrone her from her hold in Oregon. And I knew that this word that the Lord had given me connected back to the word that Dottie had been carrying, which connected back to the word that Dutch Sheets and Chuck Pierce brought to the state of Oregon in 2003. And so we had a conference. It went for 24 hours. Every hour we had a mandate from God about how to pray. And we had people from all over the state who watched us by webcam or joined us in that thing. And I would say it was one of the more powerful conferences that we've had at FireHouse. And by the time I think it ended with fireworks, because it's 4th of July that we had the conference. It ended at 6 p.m. with fireworks as a celebration. But I think it was around 3 in the afternoon where things began to happen, where we knew that she had been thrown off the wall. And there were these events that occurred that let us know that she had been thrown off the wall. And so for when we got done, I received a prophetic word that you've done what you're supposed to do. The Lord is pleased with you for being obedient to do this. And so from that moment forward, I didn't hear a word from the Lord about Jezebel. In fact, he started moving us away from that. And he actually said, I want you to start going after the spirit of religion now. And so when that happened, I'll tell you, there was a couple different things. One, the riots in Portland started to die down. 2, we never again received a real strong word about what to do about Jezebel, because she had been thrown down, right? We had seen that happen. And 3, there was shifts that were happening in the spiritual realm, but we didn't see anything in the natural that made us believe that things had occurred in the spiritual realm until today, until last night. And I want to tell you, there was a prophet by the name of Bob Blaze, who he's out of Portland, Oregon, and he's written the book In the Council of Angels. You can find him on Facebook. Anyways, he was a speaker at the prophetic school a couple weeks ago, and he was telling us about a 2005 intercessory an intercessory burden that him and other church members were a part of, about seeing demonic hosts being thrown down in Portland. And what he said was, it was interesting because they prayed, they did exactly what the Lord told them to, but in the natural, nothing changed. However, in the spirit, he noticed that different angels were now able to come into Portland, and it was those different angels were actually setting up Portland to be freed up from the demonic thing that they had actually felt like the Lord had said, you're released, that thing has been thrown down. And he said, you need to understand that in the natural, it will not necessarily line up with what you're getting in the spirit. And all of a sudden, the Lord said to me, this has to do with the Jezebel conference. See, now we're looking at almost 2 years ago, we had this conference where we threw this demonic host, this demonic spirit down, and we saw things kind of in the spirit, but not necessarily in the natural until last night. And so this is what I want to say to you guys. This is super encouraging, because Jezebel is the spirit behind abortion, and there's no way that she could come down down in DC and in the Supreme Court unless we had first done our job 2 years ago in Oregon. And I'm like, I kind of want to be like, we need a big cheer for ourselves because the Lord has used us to do something major. And we listened to a prophetic word that was released. And in the timing of the Lord, we made sure that that thing was taken care of. And now we're seeing national implications of it because abortion cannot come down unless Jezebel had been dethroned here in the state of Oregon. And so I'm just like praising the Lord for this because I feel like it's a full circle on a lot of things. That word was released in 2003. I was at the Justice House of Prayer in the Supreme Court in 2007. In 2020, we had this Jezebel conference, seeing her cast down from her throne. And then now here 2020 or 2022, we're now seeing that abortion's about to be overturned. Now, I'm saying all that to say this. Not only should this be very encouraging for us as intercessors, as prophetic people, that we're hearing the voice of the Lord and it's having national implications, but I also want to say to you, there's this verse that the Lord's been speaking to me out of, and it's the verse out of Judges, and it talks about the rising up of Deborah as a prophetess during the time of Israel's difficulty. It's in Judges 4 and 5. And what happened was that during that time that there was a man, I think the name is Jabin, and he was a king that was ruling over Israel. And it said that he was incredibly cruel to the Israelites. He was incredibly cruel. And at that time, no one was rising up against him until we meet the woman, Deborah, the prophetess, Deborah. And what happens with Deborah is so interesting because she says yes to the Lord. And it says this, I, Deborah, arose as a mother in Israel. I, Deborah, arose as a mother in Israel. And as a mother, she looked at the injustices that were happening in the earth. And she said, not on my watch. We're going to make sure this thing is taken care of. And sure enough, within 3 months, it was completely taken care of. And what you see is that Deborah arose in response to what was happening in the nation. I'm saying all this to say that we have arisen as a group, as a response to what's happened in the nation. And we are about to see the overturning of Roe v. Wade. However, we need to continue praying. We need to continue to be turning our face to the Lord and saying, take this thing down all the way. Okay. I read today that the laws of abortion in America, there's only 6 nations that are this, free with, free meaning liberal with abortions. And there's only 6 nations that are as liberal as the United States, 2 of them being North Korea and China. In other words, nations that are known for their cruelty. Okay, nations that are known for cruelly coming against their people. And so us coming out of agreement with Roe v. Wade as a nation from a legal standpoint is going to take a blight off of our civilization, off of our nation. I'm excited about it. So this is what I want to say. Will you join us this Thursday for national prayer? We're going to be open from 9 to 4. You can drop by at any time. We're going to have hourly mandates on prayer that will be posted on our Facebook page so that even if you can't come, you'll be like, oh, they're praying about this now. They're praying about this. And you can still join with us in the spirit. And if you're even watching from different places, you can join with us in the spirit as we pray through what's going on in the DC level. Okay. We're going to have hourly directed prayer. Now, let me say this to you guys real quick, and here's something to take to the bank. When Jezebel comes down in DC, you can go to the bank on this. There is about to be a profound release of blessings on God's people. Listen, if you have felt crushed, if you felt like the enemy has been cruelly afflicting you, it is because Jezebel is coming to the end of her time, and the enemy knows that she's coming to the end of her time. And the Lord is saying to you, it's time for you to receive what he had for you, but that spirit was resisting and withholding that thing. And I believe that you're about to see a prophetic movement spring up out of this nation like no one's ever seen before, because Jezebel's about to come down and the prophetic will rise up out of the ashes into a place of prominence, speaking to kings and presidents and to the places that they need to be speaking into. And so be excited about this season that we're coming into. We're in intercession, we're in warfare, but it's also warfare for our good. Okay, it's fighting for the things that God has already given the promised land to us. Okay, it's time for us to then possess the promised land that God has for us. So if you've had seasons where it just feels like you've been hit and hit and hit and hit, know this: you've only been prepared for this season that we're about to walk into. And so I hope you're feeling encouraged and excited about that. We're going to be sending our trip. Our trip to Greece starts a week from today. We have a whole bunch of us going to the airport early Tuesday morning to go to Patmos, Greece. And so we're going to be praying about that on National Day of Prayer as well, because we also believe that God's actually sending us to Greece to pull down strongholds there the same way we've been pulling down strongholds here in Oregon. So, this is exciting news for us, and I'm excited to see what the Lord's going to do. And so will you join us this Thursday, 9 to 4, open at the FireHouse building? And if you're not able to join us, just follow along with us on social media about those hourly directed prayer mandates that we're going to be posting on social media. And I hope this is hopefully very encouraging to you. And I just want to say I love you guys so much. I know I haven't done one of these in a long time, but I might be doing them more often because it just is a good way to kind of keep you guys connected to what's happening nationally as well as regionally. So I love you guys a lot. And we have this Friday, First Friday, at the FireHouse building, 329 Northeast 6th Street. We start at 6:30, and we would love to have you. It's a Holy Ghost meeting, man. We're going to see the Lord move this month. I'm very excited about it. And we lay hands on the sick and see them recover. And if you have people in your life that need to recover, then bring them by, because it'll be time for their healing. So I just want to say to you guys, I love you again. And you guys take care. Hopefully I see you Thursday or Friday. All right. Bye, guys.